Hello friends, and welcome back to your mat. Welcome back to another yoga practice. So today it's going to be a very special day because we're continuing on with our series of using intentionality and mindfulness practices within our yoga practice because they're so deeply correlated. So today we're going to be shooting for about a 25 to 30 minute flow. The idea behind it and the inspiration behind it is actually this card. So today's intention is all about Kundalini. Now, what is Kundalini? Kundalini, you can, in very basic terms, you can think of it like all of the chakra systems are rising and all of the things are awakening within you. Now, if that sounds a little bit too out there, that's totally fine. The main thing that you need to kind of think of is that you're going to become a lot more aware of not only how you move through your day, but you're probably going to become a lot more aware of what is affecting you energetically. So it's definitely going to be a lot more about the frequency that you're kind of vibing at on a day-to-day basis. And I'm hoping that this practice will kind of guide you along. So our main focus today is going to be grounding, getting really settled into our physical environment, getting really rooted down. We're going to be doing a few upper back openers as always. You know, it's always very close to my heart because most of you are holding a ton of tension in the upper back, which is really, it's just all about the computer culture that we're living in right now. And you might also find that we're doing, the other reason why I chose to do a lot of heart openers is because you're going to be a lot more connected. Kundalini is all about being connected to the heart, doing heart-centered things, having more compassion, having more empathy. And to help me along with that and to help us guide, if you wanted to kind of take this practice a little bit deeper, then the crystal that I'm recommending for today's practice is Labradorite. Now, Labradorite is a very beautiful stone. I actually have the palm stone here. It's a beautiful polished tumbled stone. And the reason why this is so wonderful is because it's really iridescent color. It changes color, but it's all about tapping into your intuition, all about helping you connect deeper into whatever your practice is. I'll just read a quick little disclaimer about it. So the crystal recommendation is your Labradorite, and it harnesses the life-giving elements of the planet. It helps you open up your mind in multiple levels of consciousness. It is also linked to the third eye, which you might have heard about in previous, in previous classes. And the stone encourages to release fear, and it works with higher frequencies. And you can also use them during full moon releases and full moon rituals if you follow the lunar cycles. Now, to simplify it in a very simple way, Labradorite is going to be a very intuitive stone. It will help you kind of connect deeper. It will also help you manage your frequency so that you're continuously vibrating at a higher frequency, which is what we want. And when you're feeling good, that's what it's all about. All right, why don't we get started? Now, as for props, so if you are brand new to this channel, well, first of all, welcome. I'm so glad that you are here. We practice at least once a week on this channel, and the time kind of changes. Some of my practices are going to be a little bit shorter. Some, if you're being short on time, today's practice is going to be about 25 to 30 minutes. Now, as for props, we're going to be, you can tell that I have a nice little blanket in front of me. So feel free to use whatever props you feel that you will need to support you. The two that I'm recommending is a blanket to support your knee. And also if you have blocks, feel free to grab them because you might actually need them. And also just a quick disclaimer, obviously, all of these postures are just an invitation. Don't feel that you're obligated. This is all just an invitation. If you feel so moved, then follow along. If something doesn't feel right in your body or this is not in your practice, feel free to come back to child's pose or feel free to come back to table or into a seated position and get grounded once again. Now, why don't we get started? So let's begin first with some breath work, which I always find is super helpful when it comes to just getting your practice started. So you can start in easy pose or you can start in hero. I'm going to begin in hero. And feel free to use blocks if you have them, or a meditation cushion. That always kind of helps, as long as your spine is nice and erect. And just take a moment just to settle in. Let's take a few deep breaths together. Exhale through the mouth. Let's do that one more time. And one last time. Really pay attention to where your body is filling up with air. Are you breathing more into your chest? Are you breathing into your ribs or into your belly? No judgment here, just witnessing right now. You can place your hands on your knees. And in a moment, we're going to just take one moment to do a quick scan through of the body and see how it's going. Again, we're simply just gathering information at this point. We're not really trying to change anything. We're not trying to change the breath. We're not trying to change the posture of the body. We're simply just observing. So let's begin at the top of the head and slowly move down in each body part. And if you need to, go ahead and name them. See what sensations are coming up. Is it relaxation and ease? Or is it tension? Is it pain? Is it tightness? Is it burning? Or maybe there's no sensation at all, which also is completely fine. And this is going to be our moment now to set our intention for our practice. And perhaps it will relate to the card that we pulled, perhaps not. Perhaps just simply wanted to dedicate it to being grateful and all of the things that you're grateful for. Just know that you showing up on your mat today is enough. It is an achievement in itself. And bring to the forefront of your mind your intention that you would like to focus on or that you would like to dedicate this practice to. And at the next out breath, we're going to send it out. So let's take a deep breath together. And exhale it out. Gently open your eyes if you haven't already. And let's begin first in table. And we're going to have our knees hip width apart, arms shoulder width apart here, and just gently sway. We're really all about just waking up the body, waking up the spine. And at your next inhalation, we're going to maybe turn your wrist towards you and continue to gently sway. You will probably have some sensations coming up here, as most people's forearms are extremely tight. Stay with it. Bring it forward, and let's switch sides. And you will probably find that one side is tighter than the other. Your body will want to favor one side over the other. Again, we're just witnessing it without judgment and see really what is coming up for you today. Now come back to neutral and just open your knees a little bit wider and sit back into child's for just one breath here. Your next inhale, come back to table. And we're going to go through a few sequences of cat and cow. So at your next inhale, round the back, heart forward, come into cow, and then your exhalation, slowly round out your back into cat. Inhale, cow, and make this as smooth as possible. A few more rounds. And really allow your breath to guide you here. Your next inhale, come into a neutral table. And from here, we're going to take our right leg and do a quick little calf stretch here. So just straighten out your right feet. Again, if you're finding that you have issues with both your wrist or your knee, you're welcome to bring in your blanket. And as you straighten out your leg, from here, tilt your feet to, actually, bring your left leg to the edge of your mat and then slowly tilt to the outer edge of your feet. And when you're ready, as we're in parallel line with our shoulders, float your right arm up for our first opener. 2 breaths here. Your exhalation, bring your hand back down and pivot your feet, and let's switch sides. So let's straighten out our left feet, and with your right leg pivoted to the edge of your mat. Keep your shoulders, perhaps adjust your arm so that it's in full alignment with your shoulders. And when you're ready, let's do our other side opener. Feel your chest and your heart opening up. Your next exhalation, bring your hand down back to the ground and come back to center. And we're going to step your right feet back into our first plank. Now from here, lean forward just a little bit. Perhaps maybe on our first one, you can bring your knee down to the ground, and let's lower down on the mat. Inhale into baby cobra. Exhale back down. Tuck your toes, and let's lift into our first downward facing dog. Bend your knees as much as you need to, but really try to bring your chest towards your thighs. And breathe nice and deep here. Pedal it out if that feels good or if it's part of your practice. One more breath here. Then bring your toes together to touch, and let's float our right leg up for our 3-legged dog. Then look in between your hands and bring it in between your hands for your low lunge. Bring your knee down on your mat. Get steady. Place your left hand on the mat, and when you're ready, we're going to float our right arm up for our other chest opener. 2 breaths here. Your next inhalation, float your hands back down to the mat and step your feet back into your downward facing dog. Again, let's pedal it out. When you're ready, we're going to float your left leg up towards the sky for your 3-legged dog. Make sure your hips are nice and square. And when you're ready, bring it between your hands. Again, bring your knees down to your mat and steady your right hand on the mat. And when you're ready, float your left hand up for your opener. Your next exhale, bring both hands down back on the mat. Float your right leg up and step back into your downward facing dog. Let's pedal it out once again. Now bend your knees and we'll go through a few flows between plank and downward facing dog. But allow the hips and the knee to sort of guide you. So think of it like we're creating a wave. One last time. Your next inhalation, we're going to float your right leg up once again into three-legged dog, but allow it to completely float open for your hip opener. Bring it back to center. Use the momentum to drive you to your low lunge. When you're nice and steady here, then float your hands up into your first warrior. Bring your hands down to cactus arms. Inhale your hands up and then transition into your warrior two. Now here we're going to be moving with the breath, so palms up. Exhale into reverse warrior. Keep your legs as they are and transition into your side angle. Again, focus really on opening and keeping the chest nice and open. And again, moving with the breath, reverse warrior. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. The next inhalation, come back to center into warrior two. Straighten out your front leg. Tilt your hips. Bring your hips more forward and come into your triangle. Here we go. I have my block ready. So if you have your blocks, this would be a perfect time to use them. So straighten out your leg and in triangle. You can simply rest your hands here on your triangle and work on opening things up. Deep breath. One more. Beautiful. Remove the block. Come back into warrior two. Bend your knees. And then your next inhalation, cartwheel your hands down to your mat. Shimmy your feet to the edge of the mat, and when you're ready and steady, step back into your plank. We'll go through our first chaturanga. So lower down. Inhale to cobra or baby cobra. Exhale back down. Tuck your toes and come back into your downward facing dog. We'll repeat this on the other side. So bring your toes to touch once again. Float your left leg to the sky for three-legged dog. Open up. Externally rotate for the hips. Come back to center. Allow this momentum to spring you forward into your low lunge. And when you're ready and steady, inhale into your warrior one. Exhale into your cactus arms. Inhale back up, adjust your footing and come down into your warrior two. Now once again, we're going to be moving with our breath. So palms up and exhale into your reverse warrior. Slowly with intention, perhaps shorten your feet a little bit. Inhale into your side angle. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And then next inhalation, come into your warrior two once again. Straighten out the front leg, tilt your hips back, and then come into your triangle. Again, you're welcome to use your blocks at any height if you have them. If you don't, you can alternatively use books as well. 2 more breaths here. Remove the blocks. Your next inhalation, rise back up into your warrior two. Bend your front feet. And then cartwheel your hands down on your mat. Shift your hips to be square. And when you're ready, step back into your planks. Let's go through your next chaturanga. Perhaps you're warm enough, so adjust your arms. Come into your up dog. And exhale into your downward facing dog. Your next inhalation, bend your knees, Look between your hands and step or hop into the top of your mat here. Really get rooted here, really get nice and comfortable in your forward fold. Relax your jaw, unclench your jaw, keep breathing. Perhaps hang on to opposite elbows and just sway side to side gently. Perhaps nod your head yes or no. Then bring your hands down to the mat, and then your next inhalation, straighten your leg, come up into your halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold again. Then on your next inhale, slowly and with control, come to the top of the mat. For mountain, hands up, upward salute. Exhale, heart center. Then inhale your hands up. Do a little micro back bend. Exhale, forward fold, swan dive. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Bring your hands down to the mat. Step back into your plank. And we'll go through another flow. And exhale, downward facing dog. When you're ready, bring both feet to touch. Inhale your right leg up. Exhale, bring it between your hands. Now from here, when you're steady, come into, in your next inhale, come into your warrior one. Then with full control, lift your feet and sway into your runner's lunge. Inhale, warrior one. Adjust your footing into your warrior two. Palms up. Exhale, reverse hero. Inhale, cartwheel your hands down. Square your hips. Adjust your footing so that it's at the edge of your mat. Bring both hands down on the mat and step back and bring your knees down to the mat, your right knee down to the mat, and just see where there's space. See how your hips are doing today. See where you're holding tension, if any. And perhaps you stay here for 2 more breaths, or you bring a block and you lower down on your block in lizard. Or if this is in your practice, you can bring your forearms to the mat and stay here for 2 breaths. 1 more breath. When you're ready, come back up. Lift your knees off the mat, step back into your plank, bring your knees down to your mat and sit back into child's pose. And you can, your forehead can rest on your hands. Or you can have your arms very active here. And if you choose to do that, you can take your right hand when you're ready and cross your left hand for your little micro twist here. See what sensations are coming up here for you, if any. Release this twist and let's do it on the other side. So bring your right arm to the right edge of your mat and bring your left hand on top of your right hand if this is available to you. 2 breaths here. Feel your heart sinking into your mat. Come back to center, and when you're ready, come back to your table. step back into your plank or your downward facing dog, your choice. You can go through another flow. I will meet you in downward facing dog here. And when you're ready, let's float our left leg up and bring it between your hands. Now from here, when you're feeling nice and steady, inhale your hands up into warrior one. And with control, bring your hands down, shift your hips a little bit as you're on your tippy toes here for your runner's lunge, heart forward and open. Inhale back to your warrior one. Adjust your footing for warrior two, nice and strong. Bring your palms up. Exhale, reverse hero. Inhale into your side angle and cartwheel your hands down. Adjust your footing again and just bring your foot to the edge of your mat and bring your knees down on your mat. And when you're ready, we're going to stay here for a couple of breaths for lizard. Again, option to bring your forearm down on your block. And you can also create a little bit of tension through the inner knee. If there are any knee issues, I would actually just leave that. And let's stay here for 2 more breaths. Last one. And when you're ready, remove the block. Lift your knees and step back into your plank. We'll go through another flow. Lower down. Inhale into up dog. And exhale into your downward facing dog. Bring your knees down on the mat once again. And when you're ready, come to a nice, comfortable seated position here. Bend your right knee, float it open, and let it rest on the inner thigh. And inhale, both hands up, and exhale. Imagine that you're pushing more forward rather than rounding your back. So make sure that your torso is nice and erect here. So 2 variations. You can either bring it, I'll just show you straight on. You can either bring it close to you, or you can create a bit of space and then fold when you're ready. I always like to remind people that this would be a perfect opportunity for you to just take your feet and just on the inner arch to slowly and gently massage it. You have no idea how much tension most people hold just in the base of their foot. Give it a gentle massage if you haven't had a massage lately. When you're ready, come back to seated. Close your legs, shake it out. And at our next inhalation, we're going to just lay down on our mat. And here, when you're ready, bring both knees to your chest for some gentle rocking. Bring both feet down on the mat, straighten out your right leg, and float your left knee and bring it close to and hug your knee to your chest. And do some micro circles if that's available to you, if there's no hip issues. See how that feels. Now from here, bring your hand out, bring your left arm out to the side, and when you're ready, we're going to grab the outside knee of your left knee and just gently and with control twist to the right. And you can allow the gaze to go towards the left. Now, if you don't want to leave it floating, perfect time to use a block just underneath the knee so that it's nice and steady. You can also bring your hands to your ribs if you're finding that then you need a bit more stability. You can also bring your arms into cactus arms. To me, this is way too tight, so I will leave it straight. And we're going to come back out of the stretch the same way that we came. Lift the knee, bring it close to the chest, remove the block, and roll back onto the center. Straighten out the knee, and let's switch sides. So float your right knee to the chest and hug it in. Let's do some micro circles. See where your hip flexors are today. See how you're doing. When you're ready, bring your hands out to the side and gently, with control, tilt your pelvis a little bit to the edge of your mat and gently allow the twist to take place. Again, use the blocks so that it has a place to be supported, and allow the gaze to go towards the right. Just breathe. We're going to come back out of this the exact same way that we came. Lift your leg, remove your block, bring your knee to the chest, and come back to center. Now from here, one last time, we can do just some gentle rocking. Give your low back a beautiful massage before we lay down for our final Savasana. I'm going to do that seated, but feel free to stay in your Savasana as long as you need to. Take a moment to close your eyes. Allow all the sensations to settle in. Give yourself lots of gratitude, lots of thanks for showing up on your mat today and doing the work. And just checking with your body once again, and see how the sensations have changed from the beginning of the practice versus right now. And see if you are able to create a bit more spaciousness and invite a little bit more openness into this practice through all of the heart openers that we've done on this practice today. Where do you feel lighter? Where do you feel more open? Make note of that, and make a note to take that same sense of experience with you off the mat. When you're ready, gently roll to the right side of your mat, gently roll to your right side and slowly come up to a seated position. Float your eyes open if they are not already. Soft gaze. I wanted to thank you for showing up on your mat today. I hope that you have enjoyed this. And contemplate on what has come up for you. Maybe perhaps take some time to journal about your experience. But just know that this energy, this state of being is always available to you if you choose to tap into it. Once again, thank you for joining me on this practice, and I cannot wait to see you in my next one. Namaste.